Okay, so this is a 1990 Subaru Legacy 5-speed all-wheel drive wagon that I just picked up as a parts car. Just going to do the quick tour here. Basically, I'm just doing some documentation before I take it apart. Not the least of which is just to get a record of showing that the car actually does run and runs quite well. So, anyhow, you can see the body's actually in surprisingly good shape. See some couple of spots of primer there on the hood, but really the body's not really rusty at all, which I attribute that to this car actually having been brought in, as you can see here, from Colorado, which interestingly enough that's exactly where my last Legacy wagon came from, which also basically had almost no rust on it compared to a New England car. You can see here the driver's side looks a little worse. For some reason the door and the front fender are primered, but it looks like it's just over the original paint, so I can't figure out exactly what was going on there. You can see there's some a lot of sun damage to the paint on the roof. But really, aside from paint damage and the driver's door looking a little bit banged up, the body's just in really good shape here. So, anyhow, the reason I bought this car is that my faithful daily driver, which you can see right here in the maroon one, I basically bit by bit have been tuning it up over the summer, just replacing all the wear and tear bits, timing belt, drive belts, front brakes, hoses, fluids. And I got it running, plugs and wires, got it running really, really nice. And then I was doing something in the driveway, had the car idling, and all of a sudden, for no explicable reason, there was a metallic ping, and the car just kind of ground to a halt. I thought for whatever reason the engine had seized, but I did a little bit more exploring and I found out that the transmission had seized, and if I hold the clutch in, the engine runs just fine. So it really defies all logic for the car, something in the transmission to snap while the car's at a standstill, but I mean, that's what happened. There's just no other explanation. So anyhow, I thought for a good little while about what I should do with it. It actually died right during the end of the Cash for Clunkers program, so I had considered, actually for about 2 seconds, but then I realized that, I couldn't drive the car in, so it didn't qualify, and even then I didn't want to, spend however many more thousands of dollars it would take to get a brand new car. So anyhow, you can see here, this is the one I'm going to be fixing. And I figured, I can, at that point I figured maybe I'd sell the car as is with the broken transmission, or just junk it. And I thought about it a little longer, and I put so much work into it this year that I realized that, if I just put a little more work into it and change the transmission myself, which I've never actually done before, the car would be just fine. So then I had to find a transmission. I figured I didn't really want to buy one off a junkyard because, you just have to take their word that it works. And even though they usually give you a bit of a guarantee, if it doesn't work, you got to take it back out and send it back while they send you another one. And I figured probably the best thing I could do is find a running and driving parts car. That way I'd be spending about the same amount of money, maybe just a little more. I would be able to see it run and drive. And then I could, part the rest of the car out, and hopefully even make a little money in the process. So anyhow, the car's been in here for close to a month now, and you can see down here, this is a Subaru alternator, not actually the one from the maroon car here. About a week, 2 weeks after the transmission went, the alternator suddenly went in Hillary's car, which is once again another first generation Legacy wagon, and it was on a Sunday, and we were just kind of in a bind, so I knew this car had a good alternator, so I just, pulled it and put it in Hillary's car, and the car's been running fine since. Thankfully, as you can see, the parts car here has a really recent alternator, so that's going to be going into the maroon car now. And let's see, after I pulled the transmission and basically take apart the interior, I'm also definitely going to pull the engine, which is another thing I've never done before, but I can't see myself throwing away a good engine. And that, of course, is the main reason I'm taking this video. I don't know if I'm going to sell the engine separately, because, it's a great runner, or if I'm going to, just save it and then, probably not put it into this one here, but transplant it into maybe another Vanagon, because that's something I've always wanted to do. So anyhow, it's been a lot of talk and not a lot of show here, so may as well start the car up so I get a record of it running. And therefore, if I do decide to sell the engine, anybody, who ends up looking at this video, and I might just shorten it to a video of just the engine running. Might edit out all this rambling at the beginning here. Anybody else will be able to see the car run, so they know they're not buying a bad engine. So, without further ado, I'm going to start it up.